I feel like it's a roll up the sleeves kind of video, you know? Are you impressed that I wore a shirt for you? I'm glad you noticed. Can you see the sweat on my brow? I need like a little fan just here, just out of camera, that I can just blast in between takes. All right, so you've been here before and you're definitely gonna be here again. Let's say you're 12 hours out from a deadline, you have to deliver a major project to a big client. No matter how organized you are or how good your time management is, you're gonna find your head on the chopping block. It is gonna come down to a final sprint and you are gonna have to do everything in your power to get whatever you're trying to do over the line. When that inevitably happens, here are a few things that you could and probably should do to stay alive when on deadline. Now, I think this advice holds up even if you're working on an individual project, even if it's just you against the world. I still think having someone in the trenches with you is a great idea. This can be physically, as in literally having someone around, even if they're doing their own work. I think that that is super valuable. Or virtually, maybe it's someone else who's a night owl and so you know they're gonna be awake and kind of checking in with them throughout the night. Having someone else on your team, even if they're not contributing to the project, but they're just propping you up, I think that that is crucial. Make sure you have someone in your corner. Let your friends and family know that you're on deadline, right? Set that expectation and set that boundary. I'm pleading with you, please do it. Just letting people know that I'm not ignoring you, I'm ignoring everybody. Oh, it's too real. It's only funny because it hurts. You might need certain people to check in on you and you might need certain other people to leave you the hell alone. Like whatever it is, just let the people know. I think this is like super practical. I've made the mistake before of having like a big, gluggy, deep fried, carby meal and then hours later just being like, ugh. God. I get that kind of like post-Christmas lunch feeling of like, all right, it's time for me to hibernate now. So my advice would be smaller meals, let's say some lean protein if you want to get into specifics. After each little milestone in the project, I want to give myself something. So it might be as simple as like, I'm going to call a friend and have some nuts when I finish this part of the project. And if you're going to snack, just small snacks throughout the night, make it nice and consistent. Keep that energy level on the level. I love a cold room just because I run hot and I'm a sweaty beast, but if you're trying to pull off an all-nighter, cool room or even a slightly chilly room might actually be good for you. Now here's the science, or should I say pseudoscience if it's coming out of my mouth. A warm room is gonna cause a drop in blood pressure. Low blood pressure causes fatigue and drowsiness. Fatigue and drowsiness cause sleepiness, and sleepiness is the enemy. So you don't wanna be doing that. You wanna keep it chill-y. I am a master nap taker, but not everyone can nap. Some people can't nap. If they do nap, they nap for 2 hours, which is really not a nap, that's a sleep. What I do is I'll have a coffee nap. So I'll have a coffee and then I'll set the timer for 16 minutes because coffee takes like 20 minutes to take effect. It's just like a nice reboot or refresh for your brain. 20 minutes if you can. I know not everyone can. You can do anything. You are the greatest of all time. I think sometimes it's important to kind of zoom out, especially when you're in the weeds of something and be like, why am I doing this? What does it all mean? Why are we here? Just zooming out a little bit bigger than the project that is absolutely killing you at this very point in time, for me can be really helpful. Sometimes it helps me refocus. A lot of times it's enough for me to just to stop worrying about the sleep factor, to be like, I'll be able to sleep in a day or so, I'll be able to sleep down the line, but this project, this opportunity that I have now, this can mean so much more for me in the future. This is tapping into something a lot bigger than just this short-term hurt that I'm feeling right now. The way memory works, my brain's probably gonna erase all of this pain anyway, and I'm not even gonna be able to remember that. I'm just gonna have this beautiful finished project at the end of it, and that's all I'm gonna be able to remember. Coffee and Red Bull definitely have their place in the all-nighter toolkit. They definitely have their limits and their diminishing returns. And then after that, they can be quite harmful to what you're actually trying to achieve. As a coffee addict, I can tell you after 4 or 5 cups, the effect essentially becomes redundant. And if you're like me right now that's had 1 too many coffees, it becomes extremely hard to focus. And that is what you want to be doing in the crunch. On to my second point, which is drink a ton of water. Now, you should probably be drinking more water than you are anyway. I don't know many people in my life that drink anywhere near enough water, but if you're gonna be pushing yourself mentally and physically, make sure you up your water game. I'm susceptible. I'm human. I find it hard to stay away from lollies and candy if they're around. Yes, you might have a little short-term uptick in energy, a little sugar spike, but of course what goes up must come down and you're gonna have a sugar crash. My advice is stay away from the snakes, stay away from the bears, both sugar and wildlife related. You're already up against it. Don't make a sugar crash just another thing that you have to battle your way through to get the project over the line. Now, I'm gonna tell you to take a break. I know, absolutely revolutionary, but my slight little challenge to you, especially on deadline, is to take a clean break. It's probably easier if I explain what I think a dirty break is. So a dirty break is when you get out this thing and you open up the social media apps and then you just scroll and scroll and scroll. All of a sudden, it's been 20 minutes and you don't feel any better than you did when you first took your break. You probably feel even worse. Your clean break might involve one of these. Ever heard of these things called books? They're fantastic. I recommend this sucker, Brave New World. Your clean break definitely can involve this sucker. I just want you to use your phone rather than be used by it. So this is another thing that I think that you should do in your clean break involves outside. Take this thing out, dial the number of somebody you love and talk to them. I don't know, about anything. Talk to them about the project or maybe talk to them about anything outside the project. And I know as much as it's so easy, it's such a crutch to be able to just dive into your phone and check out some memes, getting outside and doing some activity, talking to someone you love. You could do some squats and listen to a podcast. You could dance to your favorite music. It doesn't really matter. I think just being intentional about taking an actual break, a clean break, rather than a dirty scroll break. When you get to the end of a project, you're gonna be so over it. You will have read, seen, watched, edited, written, whatever it is, over and over and over and over it again. But please, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, and double check, even triple check, whatever your final output is. That's what's good about getting some fresh eyes in to look over your weary-eyed work, is that because you've seen this thing so many times, you can actually skip over some glaringly obvious mistakes. You will absolutely kick yourself if you put in all of that work and you stumble on that last hurdle. So there you go, some simple tips to help you stay alive on deadline, and you didn't even have to use your rocket science degree. How amazing. I do joke, obviously these are simple tips. That does not make them easy tips. But even if you can only implement 1 or 2 or a couple of these tips, it's really gonna help your longevity, because as you start to do more and more and more and more projects back to back, you really are going to have to stay alive on deadline, because the next deadline is just gonna be around the corner and you can't be taking days upon days to recover from each of these big sprints that you do to get projects over the line. So having some support and setting boundaries is great for deadlines. That's just really good life advice as well. Eating small meals and spreading out delicious, nutritious snacks throughout the night, taking it easy on the caffeine and the sugar is really gonna help you maintain a nice balanced energy. Staying cool, maybe taking a nap, and I urge you to be intentional, or as intentional as possible with your breaks. Try to go for something restorative, however you say that. Just don't scroll. Just don't do it. And finally, thinking big picture. I'm trying to remind myself of this one as much as possible. I'll close out with a little juicy nugget from entrepreneur Chris Sacca. He has a mantra that says, "Tonight, I'll be in my bed." So it's a little reminder to himself that the pain is temporary. No matter what happens throughout the day, at the end of the day, he'll be in his bed. Good luck.